Hey everyone, so in this video, it's just going to be a match of the Pink Unicorns against the faction Reaper. Shout out to Diablo, I know that he's coming out with a video as well, showing his point of view of this match, so don't forget to like and subscribe to him as well as myself. I will include the link to his channel in the description box, and we'll try to link his video at the end of this video as well. For any newish players to the game, if you're getting low on war cans, one of the best things you can do is try to take a tower, so a stronghold at the beginning of the match, but don't place a team. That way, later on, so after the 5 minutes, you're able to try and take the tower again in order to try and farm for war cans. Now, this is a strategy that a lot of players use because it's just an additional chance to get a war can, even though we have a 2x regeneration on war can energy, so it only takes 5 minutes per energy instead of 10. It can be quite a bit of a wait in order just to start to hit again if you're low on war cans. I think so far in this war, I'm down something like 14 or 15 cans, so not exactly ideal, but I'm going to try and farm some war cans for the rest of war, just to see if I can get a little bit closer to even. So anyway, looking at this match, I went in with an attack lead because I saw Pete as the leader. I'm using Dr. Stevens in order to charge my rush, as well as hopefully taunt Magna, which I failed to do, but I was able to use Princess's normalize ability, and then I followed up by command rushing her in order to finish the match just a little bit faster. It's hard to always know if you can command rush someone and successfully take down some tunes, so you have to take an educated guess. I saw attack tunes in that lineup in the previous match, so I took the risk. Sometimes the risk does not pay off, but without risk, there is no reward. It also takes quite a bit of practice with your team to be able to identify when you can command someone in order to finish a match faster, or when you have to take it a little slower. Now, Diablo here is running a mainly yellow team. It could be a fast rushing team. Also, there's absolute defense on Rick. I still have some rushes ready, so I'm going to take out one line, command Princess. That way I can follow up with normalize if needed, but I was lucky and my Priya was able to rampage and kill the rest of his tunes while avoiding the absolute defense weapon. That's mainly why I ended up commanding Princess, because if my Priya hit the absolute defense weapon and did no damage after killing the initial tune, I would be at a bit of a loss. Also, something I've been doing in war quite a bit, I've been trying to rush my Priya on blue characters who I think have an impair weapon, or if I check and I know they have an impair weapon, I rush her, because if she gets impaired on the first attack, every single attack after that will get the attack up when impaired bonus, especially because it's on her rush. If I was really worried about her being impaired after, I could always switch out Glenn and use Yellow Maggie because she has an active turn 2 impair recovery while also being a command tune. I wouldn't have a team player weapon for her, but it's one way to help combat the fact that I don't have impair resist mods on my team. So I guess something good for people to think about is that if you're not able to stop an effect from occurring, so like impair as an example, how can you leverage it to your advantage? An example is before there used to be a ton of taunt characters on defense. There still are, like right here, Cam Scar is a huge taunt character. So if you can utilize tunes that can focus and then give them an attack up when taunted mod, so even without the focus ability, you have a pretty good chance at applying mass amounts of damage if you're sure your team is going to be taunted. Like sometimes it's predictable because you can see taunt characters right away, or if you're going against the team for a second or third time, it becomes easy to predict and anticipate. And with the free mod removal going on for the majority of war, you can make those adjustments on your team as you play, which is a huge advantage. I really do hope that moving forward, Scopely will have the free mod removal throughout all of wars. I found it to be very advantageous as both an attacker and a defender, especially because mods are prizes for milestones, so this gives you the chance of actually changing your mods midway through. So if you notice all of a sudden that there are a lot of Aaron leads, for example, and you know on turn 2 he uses his active impair, then you can remod your tunes in order to adjust to that. You can either use impair resist mods, or you can go about like my method of using attack up when impaired. I think one of the best ways to figure out how to best use mods is by trial and error. And that can take a lot of time because by just adjusting one mod in a mod set, it really changes the functionality of your team. Moreover, being aware of how the defensive team and how their mods also function is extremely important. So I try to go into an attack by having multiple ways of debilitating the enemy because every team can have a very different mod set and their overall functionality changes. So with my attack team, I have stun weapons, I have active taunt abilities, I have normalize, of course, I have confuse, I have impair, I have a variety of different effects on my team that help me kind of cover all bases. I used to run a team that really only had stun as well as impair and utilized defense down, but I didn't find it to be as effective as when I was able to add in a toon like Cole, who was able to cut the enemy's attack as well as taunt the enemy. By having a variety of options, it means you can be flexible on your attack. And to me, a flexible attack means you can adjust to whatever the defense is. By having a more all-encompassing team, it means you don't have to switch teams as often. You'll notice that for the majority of my matches, I rely upon one or two teams. My main team is this team with a Mercer lead, seeing as it's effective against attack leads, it's effective against RNG leads like Mercer, Jackie, and sometimes Angel, because if Angel ends up getting stunned, my Doc Stevens can still rush without fear of being exhausted. My Doc Stevens also has quite a bit of HP, so as long as he can attack the first turn, I can command rush him the second turn by using his active skill so he gains X amount of AP as a percentage and he won't become exhausted. So that is very beneficial to me because it means I'm willing and able to give up Doc in order to get my team to finish the defending team on turn 2, maybe turn 3. So having that option is really great for me. Even when a toon like Ralito, who just applied all this bleed to my team, I can either recover the bleed with Mercer or Glenn, or I can go full out attack and try to beat the team, which, as you saw, was the method that I took, mainly because you want to try for quick wins in war. Sure, you want to be efficient and ensure that you actually get the win, but at the same time, I would rather finish a match in 30 to 40 seconds or less than that and lose a toon than spend an extra 15 to 25 seconds and save a toon. It's just you score points by winning, and I know you get a few more points for every toon that's alive and you do a bit more damage to their HP, but if you're in one of those first camps, then you're probably going to be destroyed from anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how efficient your opponent is at attacking. So I know my defense, for example, isn't that great. So I need to always hope that I'm in Camp B or the end of Camp A. Whenever I'm one of the first camps targeted, I know if it's going to be a close match, I'm going to have to coin, and that's where all of my coins basically go. I save most of my coins from leagues as well as from arenas, specifically for war in one shape or another. I don't usually do many pulls. The only thing that I've been pulling on lately has been armory tokens because weapons are so important, and in raid events, I just never seem to get enough tokens. So anyway, that match was against Reaper, which is Diablo's faction. Shout out to Diablo. I'm going to link his video at the end of this, as well as R2K2 or my girlfriend's video as well at the end of this video, so that you guys can kind of see a different perspective of the same war and see kind of how players go about attacking, because everyone kind of has their own strategy. So it might be pretty cool to see how others use their team to their max potential. I helped build my girlfriend's team, so I'm very curious myself as to how she's been using it. I know it's difficult to use some teams, and I know that there's a lot of work that I need to do with her on her weapons and mods as well. But the same thing can really be said about my teams and toons as well. I definitely don't have the best of any of those. I just try to really focus on specific pieces that I know will make my team better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If anyone has any war film that they'd like to submit, either attacking another faction or attacking me, please let me know and reach out to me online. I would love to get some film together in order to show some different styles of play.